So heavyweight UFC up-and-comer Taliesin Teixeira will be fighting UFC legend. I would say UFC legend Derek Lewis. Now Derek Lewis has never been champion, but I still consider him a legend. He's beloved. He's done a lot in the organization. He's beloved. He's a legend. I'll refer to Derek Lewis as a UFC legend. But more importantly, Taliesin Teixeira will be fighting Derek Lewis next. Taliesin just came off of a fight against his name is escaping me. I think he fights with I think he fights in New Zealand. Tafa, Jason Tafa, I think it is. I know his last name is Tafa, but Teixeira just came off a fight with Tafa and absolutely annihilated him really early. Taliesin Teixeira, if I had to give you guys who he fights like and who he's basically like a carbon copy of, is basically Renan Fajeda from the PFL, you know. And, you know, when you looked at Fajeda fight Ngannou and Fajeda in his previous fights before Ngannou, just a giant with, you know, basically unlimited range and unlimited power. And if he connects on you, you're going out, especially if he connects on you early. You know, the only way to really beat a guy like that is to do what Ngannou did and just out-grapple him. Immediately take him to the ground and, you know, just non-stop ground and pound for as long as you have him on the ground. Maybe even find a submission, but in heavyweight, it's a bit difficult to kind of execute those given how big both of these guys are. But it's still possible. Look what John Jones did to Cyril Gane. But yeah, Taliesin Teixeira fights just like Renan Fajeda. He's a giant with crazy range and crazy power, and he proved that against Tafa. And I think he will prove that again against Derek Lewis. I love Derek Lewis, and I want Derek Lewis to win this fight. I would like Derek Lewis to win, but obviously I'm going with Taliesin Teixeira to win because of the range. And Derek Lewis has been knocked out before, or at least TKO'd before, you know. I think the same will happen here. You know, Derek Lewis is a great fighter. Like I said, UFC legend. I really like him. He fights well too. You know, he's not a pushover. And he's capable of a lot of surprising things, and he's got a lot of power too. Despite all that, I think Taliesin will land early and knock Derek out early. You know, especially you know, early in MMA fights, especially in the UFC, there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of chaos as soon as the ref, you know, tells both fighters to meet in the center and go at it. There's a lot of uncertainty. Both fighters have to get into a rhythm. You see that in almost every fight. You know, there's a lot of feinting involved. And as soon as they get more comfortable and in rhythm, you start to see more punches thrown and more punches landed. I don't know if that's the case in this fight. I think Taliesin's got the reach to just go at Derek from the beginning of the fight. And like I said, if Taliesin's landing with those powerful, rangy punches early, elbows as well, Derek is gonna be put to sleep. Not really put to sleep because Derek is big and he does have a chin, but more so just so hurt that he has to just drop and the ref has to step in. You know, so yeah, I think Taliesin at the beginning of this fight is going to bum rush Derek, throw the punches, throw the elbows. He's going to have Derek against the cage, just like he had Tafa against the cage. He's going to keep spamming elbows, spamming punches, and Derek will drop right to the ground, and the ref will step in. So yeah, it's gonna be a relatively easy win for Taliesin just because of the range and the fact that I don't think Derek Lewis is a strong grappler, you know. But more importantly, I want to talk about where this will put Taliesin and what I see in Taliesin Teixeira's future in the UFC. Again, he's a giant, and Renan Fajeda made it all the way to the PFL championship. Will Taliesin do the same? I'm not so much convinced that he will. I'm not convinced that he will. I think Taliesin right now has enough skill, power, reach to be like a middle rank guy, maybe even a gatekeeper of sorts. But to be in like the top few and even be in title contention, the grappling has to be there. And Taliesin is so lanky that I think grappling with these shorter guys is going to be a bit difficult, you know. If he, like, you know, Yeah, I just think maybe I have to see more from Taliesin grappling wise to really be sure about it. But against a Alexander Volkov, against a Gelton Almeida, against a Tybura, even, Marcin Tybura, um, I think he gets out grappled. I think he gets taken down and he gets taken advantage of. Let's not even talk about a fight between him and Tom Aspinall, or a fight with Jones. I think he has a chance against Cyril. Cyril Gahn does grapple though, but not to the extent that I would, say Cyril definitely beats Taliesin. Cyril may try to strike with Taliesin, and Cyril is fast and light on his feet, but still, if you try to strike with this giant, there's a really good chance you're going out. So yeah, I think Taliesin has enough right now to be middle rank, or at least, upper middle rank in the heavyweight division, but nowhere near title contention and nowhere near the title. And that's where you want to be. That's where every UFC fighter wants to be. I just need to see Taliesin Teixeira grapple much more than he is right now, to think that he has a shot at the belt or even getting close to a belt. Right now, I think Taliesin is much more reliant on first round knockouts. Just bum rushing his opponents, utilizing his height, and connecting early with powerful shots that send his opponent right down to the ground. And I don't think that is effective against the more well-rounded heavyweight fighters in the division, like an Alexander Volkov, like a Tom Aspinall. Um, if the two fighters, the two like the two upper echelon fighters that I said, one of them I said had, one of them I talked about a fight between him and Taliesin, but the two fighters in the upper ranks of heavyweight that I think would give Taliesin a good fight, that Taliesin would have a decent chance at winning the fight, would be Sergey Pavlovich and Cyril Gahn. Cyril Gahn, I said, because he's more striking heavy, and the same thing goes for Sergey. Sergey Pavlovich can mix it up a bit, but he's more so a striker, just like Cyril. And if both of these strikers want to stand on the feet and strike more with Taliesin rather than grapple, I think both of them may just get knocked out, or TKO'd by Taliesin. Again, because of Taliesin's monster reach and monster power because of his size. That's really it. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what Taliesin does. He intrigues me. I'm not a fan, but I am still in sheer awe at his size, at his reach, at his power. And he very much reminds me of Hernan Fajeda. And I was in awe of Hernan Fajeda too, especially in that Ngannou fight. Even though he got his butt whooped by Ngannou, I was still interested in what he had to bring to the table of that Ngannou fight, because I think if Ngannou stayed on the feet with Fajeda would have knocked Ngannou out. But Ngannou was smart about it, utilized high fight IQ, and brought Renan right to the ground right away to just demolish Renan with ground and pound. And I expect the upper ranked heavyweights to do the same with Taliesin Teixeira, if Taliesin Teixeira makes it to that upper echelon of the heavyweight division. But overall, let me know what you think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn the notifications on. Most importantly, turn the notifications on so you are kept in the loop about my videos and you are notified immediately about the next video coming out. But overall, I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next.